It's great to see you this morning at the 2020 Etowah County Media Day, and I'm looking forward to a great football season, and I know all the coaches and players are looking forward to that. I've been to a couple of media days already, and that's one of the things that the players and coaches all are looking forward to, playing football. So we want to hear from all the Etowah County coaches today, but before we get started, just a few thank yous this morning. Thank you to Chris McCartney from the Messenger. Chris helped me put this thing together this year, and we do appreciate that. Also, Mosley Real Estate from down in Gunnersville provided the backdrop for us. Also like to thank some folks from WQSB and Mix 102.9 that are here today, and that's Lee Mosley and Carson Nesbitt. They're in charge of the sound today. Dave Murray is our videographer, but I know it looks like we've got several videographers in the room, and we appreciate that today. Also, Tommy Lee for arranging lunch today, and I'll talk a little more about that in a minute. And Alex Maston is our general manager, and Alex is in the back, and he's going to be helping me get coaches on and off the stage this morning and this afternoon. I'd like to thank Jody Stanfield from Local Joe's Barbecue in Gadsden and in Albertville. They'll be providing lunch, and the guys in the media, that will be over in this corner, so you're welcome when he gets here and sets it up to get it anytime you want it. And we're asking you to bring it back to your table and let the coaches and players eat over here if that's okay. So with that being said, this morning I want to tell you one thing on our schedule is Coach Mike Roberson, who is scheduled, I believe, at 11 o'clock. He's going to be later in the day. He had a funeral this morning. A coach on his team had his grandfather, I believe, that passed away, and they're having the funeral service right now, and he is a pallbearer. So he asked to go later in the day, and we granted that request. So he will be here with us, but we'll move through and work with that time when it comes up at 11 o'clock. So with that being said, our first coach up this morning is first-year coach Ryan Locke of the Etowah Blue Devils. Coach, would you introduce the two players you brought and comment now and tell us about the 2020 Etowah Blue Devils?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us. Always excited to have the opportunity to talk about our football program at Ottawa High School. Really excited. We had our first day of practice yesterday. Thought it was first day of practice. We looked a little rusty, so but hopefully we'll get better. Certainly think that we have tremendous capabilities for this upcoming year. A very talented senior class, a group of seniors that are really starting to gel together and hopefully can become what they want to become. There's a lot of expectations in our community for them, and hopefully they'll be able to live up to that. We're joined here by two of our senior football players, running back Trent Davis, who plays running back and strong safety, and wide receiver defensive back Martavius Davis. So once again, we're excited to be here. Thank you for having us. And in terms of this season, what is expected is, Etowah High School has always got very high expectations, and this season is no different. Regardless of classification, whether it be 5A or 4A, the expectations are high in Ottawa, and we certainly have a lot of work to do to try to make sure that we live up to those expectations.
All right, guys, questions?
Just for the players, obviously like last week, HSA came out and said, the season's going to go on as scheduled. There's been so much talk as to whether the season will happen on time or not. What was it like for y'all to take the field after knowing that, hey, this thing is going to start on time? Was it a different feeling for y'all?
Well, we just been talking about it lately, and we were all just like, man, we hope we have a season. But them saying that, announcing that we were going to have enough time and we were going to be able to play our games this year, it just made everything work out well.
Yeah, it was a good talk that we had about it. All the conversations we brought up about this season, how it's going to be different, but when they announced it, it brought joy to us. So we just ready to play ball.
Coach Locke, how's the transition been moving into the head job at Etowah?
It's been interesting. Certainly the current situation that our world is in right now have made the transition phase a little unique. But I think it's unique for everybody right now. I've been asked several times, what's it like to be a first-year head coach in the middle of a pandemic? And I said, probably, I would assume, much like being a 30-year head coach in the middle of a pandemic. There's really no book on how to handle this thing. At the end of the day, all we can do is try to make sure that we're abiding by all the health regulations as best as possible, and try to gel that with the best practice possible that we can have. At the end of the day, it's about the players that you have, and the kids that we have, they're eager to get out and play. I think they've been eager to get out and work and practice. I've been really impressed this summer with our attendance at workouts. I think everybody has, for the most part, been pretty committed to doing what it takes to get yourself back into shape after a 2.5-month layoff from midway through March to beginning of June. That's a lot of time. That's the most time I've ever been away from a football team in my coaching career. So, which has been right around 20 years now. So this has been a very unique time, but I think from the head coaching point of view, you're just learning to deal with all the other stuff outside of football, the administrative stuff, the making sure that we're set at how game day is going to look from the fan standpoint, and making sure that we have the certain protocols, the proper protocols in place to be able to provide fans with a safe atmosphere and all that.
Coach, talk about how many offensive and defensive starters you have, and you talked about a great group of seniors. How many are in your senior class?
Well, at the moment we have 13 seniors, and returning starters, I'm going to have to go through that in my head real quick. Let's see, 1, 2. I believe we have 7 on offense and 8 returning on defense. So defensively, we've looked really good. We looked really good in July when we started doing a lot more field work. And then yesterday, our defense, we have a lot of speed in the secondary right now. And we're fortunate that we're pretty deep in that aspect of it. We're trying to develop a little more depth up front with our offensive and defensive line. Because of that, we've changed how we practice a little bit. We've divided our older kids up into 2 different groups. For instance, these 2 right here are not on the field at the same time, or they're not on the same offense and same defense together. They're going against each other. So we're trying to create some competition from that aspect of it, and also try to provide a little bit more depth and build a little bit more depth.
Coach, for the first time, Etowah, since 1981, Etowah was playing in 4A. Past several years, you're kind of in the middle of the pack, 5A numbers-wise, the lower pack. Kind of talk about if that's going to make any difference. That for right now, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the 7th biggest school in 4A. And the next question is, talk about region. Your thoughts on Region 5 with Asheville, Door, Fulton Hill, Good Hope, Hansville, and Oneonta. How do you see that?
Well, to begin with, I don't think classification-wise there is much difference. I think you have good football teams in both classifications, whether it be 4A or 5A. Certainly the region that we're going into has a lot of history with, our history. Oneonta has a lot of history. Dora has always fielded pretty good football teams. And Fultondale is always very athletic. You have Good Hope and Hansville, who are very well-coached football teams. Asheville, Shay Monroe is a good friend of mine. He's taken over that program. I have a lot of respect for him, and I know he's going to do a good job down there. Of course, Asheville's only 20, 25 minutes down the road from us, so that'll be a big game from just a proximity point of view. So, I project this will be a very competitive region. We certainly have a lot of respect for our region opponents, and we're not going to overlook anybody. At the end of the day, we've got to do what's best for Etowah, regardless of who we're playing, whether it be 7A Gaston City or 6A Fort Payne or anybody else in our schedule. We've got to take care of Etowah, and if we take care of Etowah, then the chips will fall where they're supposed to fall.
Question for Ryan and Trent. Actually, I guess 2. I know you guys probably set individual goals, what you want to accomplish this year. talk about those, and then talk about collectively as a team. And I know you probably sit down as seniors, you probably got together with those other guys and sit down and talk about what you want to accomplish this year. So would you talk about your individual goals and then the team goal?
Well, we all pretty much have one goal, and that's to win the state championship. So that's mainly what we all been talking about. And you know, when we go to the field and work out together, that's all we work for, is to try to make it to the big stage. We haven't made it there in a minute, and we have the talent to do it with all of us. And it's gonna take the whole team to do it, but that's really our main goal for this season.
Well, me being a senior, I just want to step up and be a leader and take care of the young players and show them the ways not to do things, and just take care of them. I just want to be able to play different positions for my team to help them out. But I feel like this year we really do want to win a state championship. We go to the field, that's all we talk about. We want trying to build that up at the school. It's just to win the day, you know, do things that's right, and that's about it.
Any questions?
Yeah, no, Trent. A little bit about the leadership. You guys have been blessed and also had some great senior leaders in your tenure there. Talk about being the leader that all the younger people are looking up to. Talk about that dynamic a little bit.
Well, I think it's a good thing that we're role models for the younger players. You know, they look up to us. We got to lead a little bit different now since the pandemic. You know, we gotta help each other out, because we didn't have spring training this spring. So we got a lot of newcomers that came in that didn't get the reps, get the work. So we just mainly got to lead for them and lead for the community and lead our team.
It's very different coming in as a underclassman than being a senior. Everybody looking up to you. People used to look up to us when we were a little bit younger, because we were just, you know, good players or whatever. And but now that we're seniors, it's just a little different. You gotta lead a different way. You gotta lead every day, every minute, every step, whatever. You just gotta lead the team. You know, you gotta stay on everybody, make sure they're doing right. You gotta keep up with yourself, because you can get lost sometimes. And yeah.
Coach, question, they mentioned spring practice. You didn't have spring practice this year, obviously because of the pandemic. Do you think it's better to have the week now, or the days that the state gave you, rather than maybe spring practice?
That would be a really good question to ask me in December after we're done this year. Hopefully December. But I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings on it right now. I've never not had a spring practice before. Certainly you understand going into June and July, when you don't have a spring practice, you know, that even though we returned quite a few players, there were some holes that we knew we needed to fill. We needed to find a kicker. We needed to find a long snapper. And, you know, we have a few more holes that we need to fill now. But, you know, spring would have been good to answer some of those questions, but not having it and the whole state not having it, you know, we really can't say that we're behind, because everybody's behind right now. Everybody's kind of in the same boat. In terms of going into starting practice a week earlier, you know, obviously as a football coach, you always want to know when you can start practice earlier. But I don't know. I think I'll have a little bit better answer next week when we're able to put pads on and see where we're at from a physical standpoint. And because just when you're, you know, football is a game of contact, it's meant to be practiced and played in pads. And so when you're out there with no pads on, it's hard to get a true assessment, because that kind of limits some of the things that you can do. You're kind of limited what you can do run game wise. You're limited, your quarterback's limited because he doesn't really get a true pass rush feel. And so it forces you to focus a lot on the passing game, which is fine, but at the same time, the run game is a big part of what we do. And when we're able to finally truly practice that the way it needs to be practiced, I'll have a little bit better feel for that.
Coach, I personally think you guys has made a tremendous addition to the staff. Talk about your staff a little bit. Well,
I'm really excited about our staff. You know, I've go through them all real quick. We've got Coach Philip Pierce as our defensive coordinator and has been here, you know, at Etowah for a long time now. I know he had a little stint where he left and went to Sardis, but he's back and he does a great job. He has a lot of energy and does a really good job making sure that we're technically sound and fundamentally sound in what we do. Kendrick Cook has moved. Last year he coached defensive line. He has now moved to the offensive line. He's taken on the assistant head coaching role and handles a lot of administrative tasks for me. And he does a great job. He brings a lot of experience on both sides of the football. Skylar Ray is our wide receivers coach. Of course, he's been there for a couple of years now. Was at one time the offensive coordinator and has a lot of experience on the offensive side of the ball and is doing a great job coaching our wide receivers. And Matthew Bone is our safeties coach. Last year he had the whole secondary. This year he's focusing in more on the safeties. And also he and Coach Randy Dupree, who's a newcomer to the staff, certainly not a newcomer to Otala, a former Etowah player, has come back and is now coaching our cornerbacks, and also he and Coach Bone are co-coordinating our special teams for us. Another new addition to the staff is Brandon Booker on the defensive line, and he does in the time that I've been able to be around him, I really like his teaching ability. He focuses on the details of the position, and he's a line guy, so he can get a little in the grill when he needs to. But I'm really excited about our staff. I'm really excited about our younger staff. I should say our younger staff because they're all experienced coaches. Our middle school staff, Coach Tommy Worthy, Coach Stevie West, they've done a great job. They've been very involved in our summer workouts this year, helping give us another set of eyes to work with the players. So I'm really excited about our coaching staff. I think it's an experienced coaching staff. We have a good mix of experience and youth, and across the board, we've got people who are really heavily focused on technology. We've got people who are heavily focused on the weight room, and you know, you need all of those other little things when you put a staff together. And so we're very blessed that we have, in my opinion, a very quality staff at Ottawa High School.
Anybody else with a question?
Last one for the players, guys. Favorite, offensive, defensive, or special team touchdown? One of the guys have done them all. Look at that grin. He got the best smile in football.
What you mean, like our favorite
Yeah, you
touchdown?
score offensive, defensive.
Out of all three?
Yeah.
Mine come from offense.
Might be defense.
I like it. Coaches want you to score.
I just like scoring, period. I don't care how they come. Offense, defense, special teams. As long as we get points on the board, that's all that matters to me.
All right,
And
Coach,
keep their
thanks a
points
lot.
off.
Thanks a lot. We
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.